Welcome to Lucky Lorcana MTG Edition. Today I'm opening up some Innistrad Remastered Booster Packs, and I'll be finishing up with a Collector's Pack. So if you're familiar with Magic, the Innistrad sets, or if you're just getting into Magic and you've done some research, you're probably pretty familiar with what cards we're wanting to pull. Edgar Markov, Avacyn, Emrakul, Meathook Massacre, Craterhoof Behemoth. Most of these cards have really cool alternate art, as well as gnarly deck-defining mechanics. Triskaidekaphobia is the first unique card that I pull here. This enchantment can be surprisingly effective even with how niche it is. It sets up a lose condition for any player that has exactly 13 health on the start of your turn. Now, pair it with the Tree of Perdition, which swaps its 13 toughness for the opponent's life total, and basically you can set your opponent to 13 life, and then it's game over if they can't deal with it. This can be an unassuming win condition if you can pull it off. Just be sure to keep track of your own HP total as well. Next we've got Griff's Boon. This 1 mana cost aura gives a creature +1/+0 and flying. Nice and simple. Plus you can bring it back from the graveyard for some extra value. Perfect for getting your creatures airborne and for dodging blockers. Another great card we pull in this pack is Mystic Retrieval. When you cast it, it lets you get an instant or a sorcery back from your graveyard, and it has a flashback, so you can use it again. Now team this up with Jin-Gitaxi's Progress Tyrant, which can copy your spells, meaning you're getting 2 cards out of your graveyard immediately, then another 2 cards when you flash back Mystic Retrieval. Spontaneous Mutation is great for emergency defense. It gives a creature -X/-0, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard, so if you have a deck that fills up your graveyard, or if you're just in a bind, you can neutralize a big threat until your opponent gets rid of it. This flash enchantment is perfect for those oh shit moments, when you need a quick save. Meathook Massacre, where to begin? The Massacre is a board wipe, a life drain, and a healing effect. It's a real triple threat. It gives -X/-X to each creature when it hits the battlefield, and X being the mana spent after the initial cost. Plus, whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. And whenever an opponent's creature dies, you gain 1 life. Super powerful for controlling the board and swinging the game in your favor, and it also happens to be a counter for one of the best cards in the set, which is Avacyn, Angel of Hope. I am stoked to have drawn this card. It's one of my sought after cards, and it's going right into a deck. Speaking of dealing with Avacyn, Tragic Slip is a must-have for dealing with big threats. For just 1 mana, you can give a creature -1/-1 until the end of the turn. But if a creature died this turn, it gives a massive -13/-13 instead. The value this card brings, in the right conditions, is insanely high for its mana cost. Crusader of Odric gets stronger the more creatures you control. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you have on the battlefield. In a token deck, this can be a massive powerhouse. Just imagine a swarm of tokens, and this guy swinging in as your win condition. Seize the Storm creates a red elemental creature token with trample, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Late game, this guy can come in as a huge threat, ready to trample over blockers and deal some serious damage. Wildfield Scarecrow is a great utility creature. You can sacrifice it to search your library for 2 basic land cards. It's perfect for mana fixing and hitting your land drops. Plus, it's also a solid blocker in the early game. And being colorless, it can be useful in any deck. Niblis of the Urn taps a target creature when it attacks. This is great for controlling the board and sneaking through damage. Whether you need to neutralize a blocker or keep a threat at bay, this card is super handy. Twinblade Geist has double strike, so it deals both first strike and regular combat damage. When the creature enters the graveyard and the disturb cost is paid, you can enchant another creature to give it double strike. This is super versatile and is a great way to dish out a lot of damage quickly. Galvanic Iteration lets you copy your next instant or sorcery spell. Plus, it has flashback, so you can use it again later. It's a must-have for any heavy-hitting spell deck. I've pulled this one several times, but now I want to talk about Stensia Masquerade. This card gives all your attacking creatures first strike, and it also has a Madness, so you can cast it even if you discarded it. This is great for aggressive decks to keep the pressure on and to ensure your creatures survive combat. Necroduality is an enchantment that creates a token copy of each of your non-token zombie creature cards you summon. This is great for building your undead army in any zombie tribal deck. Imagine playing a zombie and getting an extra copy for free. It's so good. Rise from the Tides creates a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Late game, this can flood the board with zombies and give you a huge advantage. It is a fantastic finisher in spell-heavy decks. Deathcap Glade is a land that taps for black or green mana. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more lands. This is perfect for multicolored decks needing reliable mana fixing. Essential for early game versatility, and one of the few multicolor lands that can enter the battlefield untapped. Morbid Opportunist lets you draw a card whenever another creature dies, but only once each turn. Perfect for decks with lots of sacrifice effects or removal, giving you consistent card advantage. Keeping your hand full of options is always a win. Rally the Peasants gives your creatures +2/+0 until the end of your turn and has flashback. Great for pushing through extra damage in aggressive decks, catching opponents off guard with a sudden power boost. This card features a white cast cost and a red flashback cost, making it usable in mono white decks and even better in red white decks. Heartless Summoning is an enchantment that reduces the mana cost of creatures by 2, but gives them -1/-1. It accelerates your play, especially in decks with creatures that have strong summoning abilities or persistent effects. Despite the drawback, the cost reduction can be huge, allowing you to get your heavy hitters out faster. How have we made it this far without mentioning werewolves? Moonlight Hunt lets your werewolf creatures deal damage equal to their power to a target creature. This is perfect for werewolf decks to remove threats and to clear the way for attackers. With this card, you can turn your werewolves into removal spells without putting them in harm's way. Boarded Window is an artifact that gives all attacking creatures -1/-0. It's a great way to weaken your opponent's attacks and to protect yourself from damage. This is a great token counter, neutralizing weak hits and softening others. Whether you're stalling for time or reducing incoming pressure, this card can be super helpful. Haunted Ridge is a land that taps for black or red mana. Just like Deathcap Glade, this dual color land can enter untapped, making it perfect for Rakdos decks. This art style is insane. I've already talked about how good this card is, but pulling the showcase art is a real treat. It's like having a piece of Magic history in your collection. I was super lucky to not only pull this card once, but twice now, with the showcase art no less. I have the one version for play, and this one for collecting. I'm going to be getting this one graded, so if you know any resources for that process, please comment them down below. One of my favorite things about Magic cards is the awesome artwork and how many different versions almost every card has. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing more long-form pack openings soon, so make sure to look out for that. The next expansion I'll be opening is Disney Lorcana's Arcasia Island, coming out in early March. And if you like the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and it'll help me release more content. And hey, here's to getting lucky.